we've had good communication. We have bi-weekly safety meetings, so we discuss issues, we discuss problems, we discuss executing plans going forward. So we keep that safety first all the time.
Out here on the project, I mean, any project, you have to act with integrity. You got to be honest and transparent, because I mean that's what you really build yourself on.
There's a lot of moving parts on this job, and it changes daily. And I have to be able to trust the guys and the people that I have out there in leadership positions, the foreman, the other superintendents. And the nice thing is, if there's any other issues, they know that they can still count on me, and they trust that I have their back.
One of the ones that I see on a day-to-day basis is strive for excellence. At Miller Brothers, we always try to give a quality product for the owner while completing the project on time, on budget, and most importantly, doing it safely.
I'd have to say constantly learning is probably one that stands out most to me. They're always encouraging us to go to trainings and go to different conferences so that we can, gain more knowledge and be the best company that we can be.
Teamwork is paramount. With teamwork comes relationships. Miller Brothers works with some of the largest machines on earth. They can be dangerous machines, so having that constant communication and teamwork with one another puts everyone in a safe position.
As we first established core values, we did a great job of getting them out there and plastering them on a wall, but it's taken us some time to really start to ingrain those in our culture. I'm starting to see our younger leaders step forward, and you hear a young project manager use those terms, you kind of walk away with that proud father feeling like, all right, this is starting to work, it's starting to take hold.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We had a young project manager talk about how he had to discipline some people on his staff. Maybe the quality wasn't there, the excellence wasn't there. And sometimes it's hard to articulate those things when you're walking through that tough process of possibly having to discipline an employee. And I saw this young project manager just go right down the core values. And it gave him something, I think, that we all speak a common language. We all sort of understand now what we're talking about, what we will be held accountable to. And I think it helped him, just like you said, that our young PMs are ingraining that in their thought process. And I just saw him apply it. I think he felt good about handing out the discipline, and I think the employee received it as this wasn't a personal attack. These are the values that Brad Miller brings to us that we all should be held accountable to. So I thought that was a pretty neat scenario.
I think my message to my employees is always, I want you to go home the way you came in every day. And one of the things I see within my group, and I think it's within a lot of our groups, is the workforce is aging as a general statement. And as part of that cycle means we're bringing a lot of young people in the company. And we've challenged the guys that have been here and the guys who have the experience that your job is to look after the younger folks. They don't have the knowledge that you do, and how do we transition that to them to keep them safe every day?
Do we bump heads with our safety department from time to time from an operations perspective? Yeah, but at the end of the day, when you're on the opposite end of that, how can you argue with wanting to go home safely?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we see teamwork and safety being tied together. My employees are scattered out in the field a lot of times. They work alone, but I know none of them are afraid to pick up the phone and call for help or offer help or point out things they've seen because they care about the people they work around. And I think that's telling that they're willing to do that. They're willing to look over their other employee's shoulder and make sure they're safe. And it's not because they want to get someone in trouble, it's because they care about them and don't want to see them get hurt.
To run a pipe crew, it takes 5 or 6 guys or 7, and they all have to be working together. To be on a grading crew, you have operators on equipment, on bladed equipment, and you have a guy or 2 on the ground with maybe a GPS unit or a rover, and you've got to be able to work together, and you've got to understand each other's intentions and what's going on the job. So I see teamwork as being a core value that it's just used over and over and over again.
We are, a partner of our field crews. We're not just the equipment group. We want to help them build their job. We want to help them build their job better, right? That's how we all succeed. But then also, you can't get what you need unless you ask, right? So when we had our construction kickoff, it was simply just asking, or telling the guys, here's what I need from you to help me help you, right? But then it's important showing the results. You can't just sit in front of a room and talk about it. You need to act on it. And I think we've done a good job over the last couple of years in building trust between my team and the field teams.
Yeah, we were on a safety stand down this summer on a solar farm, and we were going over on how we were doing some grading between some solar panels just to prep the site for seeding. And one of the topics was the width of our machine and how difficult it was to get between these panels to accomplish what we had to accomplish. One of the operators said, "Hey, I have an idea, why don't we try this?" And he talked about putting the same attachment on a little bit different piece of equipment. Had some rotational capabilities to it, which would allow us to work between these rows or these panels a little bit more efficiently and a little bit safer. And that idea was brought back to our equipment group, and it wasn't a matter of, John, a couple days.
Yeah.
And we had that other piece of equipment out there with the attachment on it, giving that a shot. The building trust is become more important, especially when you bring people into a new region. You're trying to acclimate them with people from main office. You're learning new people, and they may do things a little bit differently than what you're used to. But if you can trust them that they're going to eventually end up with the same result, when that trust is established, then all of a sudden teamwork starts happening.
So I've worked in a number of different companies, and I can honestly say the relationship between payroll and the field here, I've never seen anywhere else. And I think it comes back to trust. You want to look at a core value. They understand and they trust each other. I mean, many times in an organization, let's face it, finance and accounting and payroll and accounts payable are necessary evil. They're not necessarily looked upon as, they don't make money, but I guess we have to put up with them. So imagine being in one of those positions and how they must feel. But I think Lori does a good job. On a regular basis, she takes different groups, different individuals, takes them to lunch so they can just sit down in a non-office atmosphere and talk and get to know each other. And I think that's huge.
All the bidding that takes place and the pressure they're under, a lot of different values. What comes to mind with that group in particular?
Excellence, integrity, honesty, I mean, all of it, because they take it to heart. They feel that if they make a mistake, it is on them. And we have told them time and time again, it's not your sole responsibility to get this bid out. So they are just so proud of the work that we do and being a part of that they just take it to heart. And it's very hard to convince them otherwise.
You look at continuing to learn and get better. I think we're continuously trying to find ways to better processes. I mean, Lori is a big champion of that. But I think we're constantly trying to find ways to get better, to make it easier, not only for us, but for our customers in the field, which is the other employees, so it makes it easier for them.
I'm reminded the PowerPoint that you did on fuel usage, idle time, and your perspective, and then I'd like to hear how you guys think the field received that, because that was sort of like some aha moments for some guys.
I think aha is a great way to say that. I think everyone was a little angry at themselves, is how I perceived when I talked about fuel and idle time and the waste we had, because we all see it around us every day, but when you see it on paper and you go, wow, that's an impact, right? It goes to the bottom line of the company. I saw a lot of ownership come out of that, and it's just because of communication, because we're willing to sit in a room and say, you know what, none of us are perfect. That's okay. How are we going to fix it? How are we going to work together to fix it? I think when we talk about excellence and how important that is, nothing we do, or very little what we do, is proprietary to Miller Brothers, right? We move dirt, we dig holes, we build structures. So what is proprietary to us is our people, though. It's how we do things, and it's the care they put into it. And I think when you talk to our employees, they always want to be a little better than our competition, right? They're striving for that excellence, and that's how we succeed as a company. If we didn't have that drive, if we didn't have that core value, we would just be another contractor, and we're not just another contractor.
I think a big thing was the communication, just John communicating to the field, here's what we're doing, and here's why we're doing it. And once you do that, whenever we have any kind of issues, communication usually is one part of why things might not be going so well. So the better lines of communication we open up, and giving, hopefully everybody in the field feels like they can bring up and start a conversation about whether something's either not safe or not efficient, or but I know communicating to that group and explaining the whys, why this has to be done or why it's important, I think the more we do that, the better off we'll be.